Welcome to the Unfiltered Path Podcast, where we explore life's journeys without the constraints of filters. In a world saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering our listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, the struggles, and the transformative moments that define us. Our mission is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how windy or rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth and to be moved, to be inspired, and discover that you're not alone on this unfiltered journey of life. Hello, everyone. It is Trinity Baker. I'm one of our co-hosts here at the Unfiltered Path Podcast. I am a mindset coach, so I help people achieve happiness and step into their true selves. And I am joined here with my beautiful co-host.
Hi, my name is Danielle. I am an Aerialist. I'm the owner of Aerial Jade. An Aerialist is fancy for performing suspended in the air. Essentially, I'm the bird of the circus. I'm also an educator, so I love being a teacher and teaching others to do it as well. I'm here with my well-dressed co-host.
My name is Graham Duval, owner of Valüd Productions. We provide video marketing strategies to help businesses become more successful. And I am super excited today to be joined by our wonderful guest.
Hi, everyone. Jessica Visek. I am the founder and owner of Your Career Partner. I'm a certified career coach, and I am excited to be here.
Excited to have you. Welcome.
So excited. So I met Jessica through a colleague introduced me to her. And when I met with her, I just felt like what she does is so incredibly impactful because it's something that we can relate to from our paths. Something that we talk about in almost every single episode, some way, somehow, is that we all here decided that we are in career paths that weren't fulfilling us in some way, weren't our destiny, wasn't something that we wanted to do for the rest of our lives. And we chose entrepreneurship in one way to kind of step out of that and into our true selves. And I think that something we've been missing up until this episode is that you can decide the career path that you're on is not for you. And regardless of all those student loans, and say, I need a change because I want to do something fulfilling. But what do you do when you have no freaking idea what that is? And so when I met with Jessica, I was like, man, this is really epic because what she does as a certified career coach is she helps people in those situations. So Jessica, so excited to have you here with us today. Tell us a little bit about the people you work with and how they come to you and how they find you and what you do with them.
Okay. Sure. So I mean, multiple pipelines, if you will, how I actually come across and meet such wonderful professionals, referrals, certainly through, getting my brand out there. So people, search for somebody like myself. So they come to me, and really just through making connections with other folks that maybe know somebody within their circle. And, ultimately, as a career coach, the one thing that I always keep in mind is I have to really, really listen, truly listen, use, very active listening skills to understand exactly where they're at, truly let them just blurt it out, let them just, work through it out loud, if you will, instead of ruminating over it and sitting in a dark corner and thinking, oh, my life sucks and I don't know what to do with myself. And so then me being able to decipher that and really put something down, some type of roadmap. And also, more importantly, for them to recognize that they have value, that they're marketable, and to, put a mirror to that and for them to then, if they've had a rough year, to rebuild their confidence and their sense of self, as well as recognize that they have other things to offer that maybe they didn't realize. So very much somebody that, one is certainly a coach, an advisor, a friend, somebody that they can lean on that is there in their corner. You think of like, a boxer, and they have the coach, always there when the in between, each of the rounds, and it's like, all right, you can do it, so really being there, to encourage them. And to your point on the impact, I didn't really realize truly what I've gotten into over these years, like my journey, like I'm sure all the other, Graham and Danielle and yourself, Trinity, that I never thought I would be an entrepreneur, but I just kind of fell backwards and never looked back. So,
yeah, it was all, for me, it was like a fail forward type moment, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely.
So I didn't really have a choice to do the entrepreneur part because COVID like wiped out any circus options me had, which was already limited in itself. So I had to create a way for myself and other people. So I kind of didn't have a choice. What's interesting enough is I ran away from business school and went to circus school. And now here I am using the information as a whole on a regular basis. So it's interesting. Yeah. I didn't have a choice. And then now, I met with first of all, I love your analogy about the box and the coach thing. I feel like I'm going to use that a lot.
I just kind of came up with it. Like it had that visual.
So good. Because it explains me too in a way that everybody would never say, oh, you don't need a coach in those moments. Like we all can collectively go, yeah, you need that person. And then wait, oh, I do need that person in my life. Like I just learned something like that. It is effective. Right. So it was just a really epic analogy. So I started working with a girl from Bates, and she's been an aerialist since she was 8. So she pretty much knows what I know. But what she said to me last night was, she goes, you're the first person to help me build a resume. You're the first person to make this seem possible. You're the first person that made it seem like I could do this as a career. She's in a private liberal arts school, one of the best, at least in Maine, I can say at the very least. They've created 12 Olympians. Anyways, I was just like, it was really rewarding. She said it last night. She was 18. She physically can do what I can do on a sill. I taught her some lyra stuff, and I was teaching her how to routine and section it, and that, that she's at that stage, and she was so grateful. She didn't need me to teach her new stuff. At first I was like, what the heck am I going to offer this girl? I could be your double. Like, let's work out. When she said that, I was like, oh my God, I have so much more to offer. It really opened up like how I'm going to look. I'm not going to be so intimidated by certain physical levels, because I know that being a 38-year-old aerialist, that experience is something that's priceless to somebody that's 18 and physically capable. Right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was just last night. I love this talk. I love that you're here, because it's, I am a leader within a business groups. And so it's nice to really apply that to my job and be like, yeah, I'm a leader. And that has its own job skills. And that's just about wisdom and guidance and mentorship and motivation. Yeah, I really tap into those interpersonal skills. And yeah, I was helping her build a resume. I'm like, well, and I'm doing a workshop, and there's a stigma around like aerialists and gymnasts. We're not football players. We're not bringing in the tickets now.
Right.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally relate with that. And like, I concur with you, Danielle. The boxer analogy is very, very good, as far as like, the boxer definitely needs that person to help them win the fight or whatever. And like for myself, I'm really good at like busting through to-do lists. And like, if I have an action list in front of me, I am really good at just like kicking butt and getting stuff done. You know what I mean? But you tell me to come up with the things to put on that to-do list, whole different story. You know what I mean? So like having someone that, and I got mentors and coaches as well that like help specifically in my industry, and Like they're the ones that, like, we're doing similar levels of business and stuff, but it's like they've gone through things before I have and are the ones helping me build that to-do list that then I can go and be like rock through it. You know what I mean? So I totally relate with that. And I think it's super important to have that guidance, especially from just in life. You know what I mean? As entrepreneurs or people looking to switch careers, or like wherever their unfiltered path takes them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would also say like provide clarity too, because there's so much noise and there's like so much to look at and not really knowing where to start. Kind of going with, for you recognize that if there is a very well thought out list, you're all set. But what if that's not how your client, that's not really how things are going to be structured? Then you recognize, hey, I need somebody to come in and help me with that. And I see that for myself. There are some clients that I have that are very self-disciplined that come in even to I provide like a complimentary consult, free of charge, obviously, for really more me, but also for us to kind of make sure that we really connect, that this could be a very successful collaboration. And some of them come in already prepared. They know exactly what they want, where they want to be. And, it's more or less making sure that everything is properly aligned and, everything looks great. And I can obviously add my expertise and my perspective, but they're going to knock it out. I have full confidence. And then you have people on the other end of it where they come in crying and feeling completely lost and stuck and not knowing what to do, or they've had some traumatic events. I'm working, talking with somebody, I hope, that person will come on board, and they're going through some real professional and personal struggles. So it's kind of like that. In that vein, like I said earlier, it's all about, being an active listener, being compassionate, being empathetic, because I feel like we probably all could relate to that, to each of those examples, one way or another throughout our career. And, to be a successful career coach, you have to, again, be very agile. I always say that I'm like a palm tree. I just kind of go with the flow. I go with my clients, and, it's fun. It's challenging. It's draining, but also extremely fulfilling. All wrapped into this crazy journey. So
I feel like you just summed up entrepreneurship. It's fun, it's challenging, it's draining, but it's fulfilling. Like literally those 4 words, I think, sum up what we do every single day. But the most important part being it's fun. We have to have some type of challenge, right? Your job's going to be draining, really, no matter what. Because if you're in an unfulfilling job, it's going to be draining. So I'd rather it be draining in a fulfilling way than draining in a like, why am I going to this place again way? Right? I love like up on like the different paths, the unfiltered path. And so like we all do have different paths. So coming to you as someone who's saying like, hey, I just got laid off from a job I've been at 25 years. I was looking for a promotion and they just laid me off. To someone who's like, hey, I'm feeling unfulfilled. I know exactly what I want to be. This is the career I want to do. How do I get there? I love that you work with people on different paths.
Yeah.
And it makes things very interesting, to put it mildly.
It's nice too, because it's always changing and evolving what we're doing in our, I feel like it's every 4 to 5 years, or no matter, for at least me, I get antsy. I got to switch it up, learn something, add to it, seek knowledge, right? And usually because a lot of what we learn is aligned with having to make money. I at least know that for me, because I probably wouldn't do aerial in terms of making money. Like, I don't think that's what I don't know. Like, I never saw it as that. I kind of had to. So I feel like we're kind of forced as a society to learn with what we're doing for a job. So I think that's why I keep evolving. Yeah. And I foresee that for myself. Like every 4 to 5 years, there's always a switch up some way it is. So it's nice having guidance and mentors and friends that understand that and that know you are, you can be multiple things. You know, like I really want to do stand-up. Like I actually want to do my own little mini tour. That's so over here, you know? So that's what I mean. I just love that your job exists because there's just an evolution of people. And usually we have to align it with work, making money, because that's just what it is.
I totally relate with that, Danielle. Like, you know, I have what I do for business. I love what I do. It's a passion. It makes me good money. You know, all this stuff. It allows me to live a life and all this stuff. But like, I've always had this like bucket list goal because I'm a musician and I love playing in bands. In the time that I was like very active in the music world, as far as like we toured around New England a lot and played shows all over New England and things like that, I never actually had the chance to like get in an RV or a bus and like go over the whole country and play shows country to country, you know what I mean? And so like that's something that I've wanted to set myself up to do once business stuff is like flowing enough, and hopefully there's a group of people that make that possible, that like we can set up a slew of shows. It doesn't have to be like big shows, just like even bar shows, you know what I mean? But just have set stops to drive through the country, play a show in each town, and make it down and back, you know what I mean? And I just never had a chance to do that. And so like that's on a bucket list thing that I would love to do, kind of similar like what you're talking about with like doing a tour on stand-up comedy. You know what I mean? You set your business up to success to get to a point where you can do these other things that also are super fulfilling in your life, that kind of make you who you are and are part of who you are, you know? Yeah, I totally relate with that. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm just sitting here and like sometimes I get into like listener mode for a second. Difference here, which is why I love listening to our podcasts after they come out, because like Danielle says, like I love what you just said. Every 4 to 5 years, there's like some sort of change. And Jessica, I'm like wondering, do you see any pattern there? Do you see people like, do you see the time period pattern?
It depends. I mean, I've been trying to, I think, really shift the mindset of what a career coach is all about. And that's actually going with kind of what you guys were talking about, kind of long-term, is I really, one of my long-term, well, relatively, and maybe the next 5 years. So then ultimately I would be doing this for a decade. I want to be that thought leader. I want to be that go-to person. You referenced me as a guru. I took that humbly, quite honestly. I'm still obviously learning, but I've come, quite far from where I started. But going back to my point is changing the mindset that professionals, career seekers have on a career coach. They think it's all about just doing a resume and a LinkedIn profile. It is so much bigger than that. And, what you guys just relayed is I view myself as my company says, a partner. And I want to be there side by side throughout your career in all those different how career is, the winding roads, the paths uncharted, and all the above, and celebrate those wins or be there when there's those defeats and how to overcome those and what you learn from those. And I'm trying client by client, because I have to do it person by person, and then, start to expand that out to, a larger audience. Is just because I've gotten you to this point does not mean you're going to stay here and be successful. Okay. There's still a lot to do. You still have a many, many years to come. So recognize that I can still be there in some form, whatever that means. And I'm trying. It's somewhat of an uphill battle, because I think, unfortunately, just the way my industry has been characterized, and people have just just assumed that, a career coach is just when I'm looking for a job. That's it. Well, no. You have a career what? Some people's careers span 30, 40, 50 years potentially, the way the job market's going. So this is a lifelong relationship potentially. And it's definitely one of those areas that I'm, trying to really work on. And like I said, client by client, the ones that I feel like are the most open to the idea, that is willing to have the conversation, and that also we've had successes. So if we work together and they go off and it took more time than they anticipated, or they didn't put the work in, they're obviously not going to immediately feel the value, right? So even though I have given them a lot of value and I've given them a lot, it's just not as tangible. They didn't get that promotion. They didn't get that job. They didn't, all the, whatever that end goal was. But still, we still made progress, right? And, they can certainly look at themselves and be proud of themselves. So,
yeah, I think that's so important. It goes to like that topic of having a growth mindset where look at the growth and not the outcome or the, point B, points like Graham.
Yeah.
Right? Like taking your example of travel, like the goal is to get to the traveling, but where I'm confident in saying this, you are learning so much in the journey to getting to the travel.
Oh yeah.
That's a goal, but it's not like your destination in a way. And I love that, Jessica. I love that mindset.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. And like, one of the things that first came to mind for me is like similarly with that, and like what I do a lot with my clients is like we post a lot of stuff on social media and do a lot of social media videos, and I have to have multiple conversations, in the beginning and just kind of setting that stage. It's like, look, we're going to be posting these videos, like these vanity metrics aren't the thing that are going to gauge the results of this overall project. We may post a video, it may get 5 likes. That's not the thing that is going to be what is driving these results. We're doing this whole system that has different pieces that are moving. So like looking at the different pieces and how it actually gets there, that's what the progress that we're looking for. It doesn't matter these single little pieces get like super tons of likes and all these things. It's how we're actually capitalizing on that, which is very similar to like what you were just talking about, where it's like, okay, we're making progress. These little pieces might not seem like they're getting what one may think as like the super successful thing, but on the overall, it is 100% getting to that result and wherever you're looking to go. Yeah, no, that's super cool.
Yeah, I teach an art form that's pretty much designed for a man's body to women. And failure is just, I count failures. Like, and it's teaching that mindset takes a little bit. And people don't really see their progress. And so then I'm intentional with performance opportunities or showcases, or I do certain videos. So it's in fast forward. So they see their progress. And then I end it with a picture. So their mind can comprehend that they gained, even though it felt like they failed. Because I had some of the most successful line of women, doctors, nurses, business women, all feeling like, oh, I'm not really making progress. So to hear that from such accomplished humans, I had to create a system that would allow them to see it throughout their journey, because it's technically just showing up to fail and get a bruise and break a sweat. And that's what it looks like most of the time. And that's not what people always kind of want to sign up for. I don't promise weight loss. You'll never see me market it. I don't promise anything like that. I promise I will build your self-confidence, your muscle mass, and you will have insane abs, whether you see them.
Danielle, I love that. That's what I was literally going to say before you started talking, was this conversation is reminding me of when I did Aerial with you. Like, and I love celebration because I think celebration gives us that motivation to get to that next step and really takes a second to reflect on what we're celebrating, which is growth. And so, Danielle, the way that you do it is you celebrate like so much. The things that someone who's not athletic and is not teaching this wouldn't even recognize. And I think that was what was so empowering working with you is like, I did, like, all of a sudden I saw a picture of me in a video and my arm like had a muscle line and I was like, whoa, where'd that come from? Like, I used to have flap there. And so I think that you really show the importance of celebrating every single one of those steps, regardless of how freaking hard it is and how much it hurts. And that's like emotionally and physically. And so like that, we have to celebrate these growths to get to where we're going, like those paths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my job definitely, well, I don't know, not my job. So it was an art form. It saved my life, like as an individual, you know, the discipline, just being someone that paid to go, right? Like a student of the art, celebrating small wins when it's uncomfortable has propelled my life over and over and over again. And in my art form, it's a requirement to instill. So it keeps me in line having this as a career, but it definitely started as, you know, an innocent space for myself too. It's crazy because I've just been so grateful lately. People have been expressing like you just expressed to me. Someone messaged me who's physically like me and she's like, I miss you as a teacher. It's nothing like, it doesn't matter. She's somewhere else fancy in the country. And she physically can do what I can do, but she misses me as the teacher and the guidance, or having that girl say the resume. Or I have a friend who literally, well, Trinity and I share a friend and she's no longer on drugs. Let me be clear, like in thriving, may I just say. So not only is she off something that was just darkening her beautiful light, is thriving. And it's just like for her to just come to my house the other day and just express her gratitude to my face. And it's what a wonderful week it's been. Thank you for saying that to me, Trinity, because you don't even know what you're doing all the time until someone has that kind of story and you're like, oh, you know, like, wow, I'm really doing the work that we're supposed to be doing on earth, you know?
And I think that's why I'm so free in expressing that, because I know what it feels like to need that, if that makes sense. So like, I know that that's what gets us to keep going on those hard days, is knowing the impact that we're making. And so like, that's why I'll text Graham and be like, yo, you taught me everything of what I'm doing in video. Thank you. That's epic. Like, I don't even know how I would market my business. I certainly wouldn't be doing reels if I had never met you. I don't even know that I'd have the confidence to start my own business if I hadn't met Danielle and Graham. And so like, I love expressing those because I think that we overlook that stuff. And so I love, like, you look at this picture. Jessica does that in career paths with people. She celebrates those successes that we would normally overlook that are instrumental to where we're going, right? The end goal of like whatever career they're looking for or whatever that is, right? Graham does that with businesses on helping them really identify what their message needs to be and what they want to have their message be, and to gain clients to how they can serve them, right? And so he celebrates the successes of being like, that video might have had 5 likes, but look what it's done for your website, or, you know, the process. Now I don't do what you do, so I probably just totally butchered.
You're good.
And I do this with people's mindsets. Like, I just got off the phone with a client and she's like, wow, I didn't even realize, like, that was a huge thing I did this week. I'm like, this is why we have coaching calls, because I realize it, but you overlook it. And so it's almost like we're identifying self-awareness. We're building self-awareness in people. I think the self-awareness is how we get, like, self-awareness, I think, is a major factor in how we get to our true selves. Like that person that we are brought here and meant to be, who I believe that we will be shown at the end of our life. But I want it to match up. I don't want to be like, man, I never made it there. Could have made it there. Like, I am very, like, every day I'm focused on being that person. And I think that is beautiful. It's different for everyone.
Most definitely.
Amen.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I did Trinity 10-day trial, 10-day like little amp up. And it's funny because I'm like, oh, I think I need it again. Because like my life just keeps pivoting. And right when a pivot starts to happen, I'm like, I need help. I need help keeping it together. Like, so I do it. You know what I mean? So I don't just go in a hole and cry and say I can't do it anymore. And my friend mentioned to me that she was on like level 4 with you. Like you have like levels now, sort of. I don't know how she worded it. She didn't say kind of. So, and I was like, she's really on to something, isn't she? About like, you know, I think you're figuring out your own way to remap the mind, to retrain us. And I love that because my friend said it to me. And then I referred an athlete to Trinity who was just having like maybe like outbursts. He was younger. And so he just didn't know how to manage like that. It's kind of a job and an athlete. Like you got to manage the two. And that he was there for him. And I don't know. It was just really cool. And how you have levels now. How official.
It's cool, like, because I think it allows, it's just another level. It's like how you structure yourself to create those videos so that you can see progress or the clients can see progress, right? That's my way of being like you're making huge progress. Like,
Right.
Look where you 3 months, 6 months, you know, it's crazy. So I think that it's really just, it's being intentional, which I think we all have here. It's that intention to create that self-awareness and celebrate the heck out of people.
Shout out to our friend who invests in her physical ability in aerial arts, was it just such an extreme thing to do, both in artistry, femininity, and athleticism. It's extreme in all of the areas. And then to invest in a Trinity and herself with her mental mindset. Like, can we get a shout out for our random friend that we're not going to say?
Shout out.
Woo! But she's like investing in herself. And she's like, oh, no, I'm going to go back to school. And, you know, she's like on vacation. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't believe to see the beginning and where she's at now. Just it's an honor. Mm-hmm. There was a moment in her life I was like, God really wants me to make sure she's okay. You know, like there was a moment that I just felt a responsibility. Like I'm supposed, and it's worth it because this girl is like, she's creating her own ripples now. People have better lives because she's living to her best self. And it's just so flipping cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, it like that moment you were like, I had meant to be in her life 100% as it was like, you know, 11 p.m. and I'm driving an hour away to go meet her at a really horrible situation. And I never thought I would be that person that would be called to that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why? I wonder why God is like calling me to do this right now. And now, like looking back, that was just like a year and a half ago. Looking back, now I know why. Like, look where we get to see that.
And it's okay to give a little content. So her boyfriend had passed away in her home. She was with me while it was happening, but he had an overdose. So it could have been her. She could have been there, but she wasn't. She all of a sudden now has all these new friends and disciplines, right? And then so Trinity goes in the middle of the night to be there with her while I was with her randomly during the day. Like something told me to reschedule my life so she could have her private lesson. I'm not even kidding. And I did it. And so when that serious, dramatic, intense scenario plays out, right? I was like, oh, like there was a moment where Trinity and I were talking and I was like, okay, we were put in her lives. Like we were literally designed to be a part of her life that day. Like it was
most
just really
definitely
clear. And, you know, to watch her now, it's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And she's performed for me. I mean, it's just
super cool. I think that is, go ahead.
Note this before you move on, Graham, because I think that this will come to what you're probably going to say or get at is that BNI, a networking event where businesses and entrepreneurs connect, is what brought Danielle and I together. A business is what brought me and her together. I didn't know her before that. And then what made me connect Danielle and her. And so
what's crazy is she referred someone to an aerial class, and literally that woman is my right-hand girl. She goes to all my aerial jobs. She's the person I call for everything. Sorry. So
she
gives me like a primary figure in my life. Like literally. It's just insane the power of that. Sorry, I did not mean
yeah.
I just like
super cool. Super cool. And that's why we have people like Jessica to be that guidance and that coach like the boxer. But what I would like to to bring it back to, and I think Trinity, you had kind of mentioned this before we were talking on the podcast, and I think this is kind of a cool question to kind of top off the end of the thing here is, if you could be friends with one person from Seinfeld, who would your person be and why? I just have to say I love that question, and I think it can kind of tie into what we got going on here. So, Jessica, your friend on Seinfeld, who is it?
I've been thinking about since Trini brought it up. So I've been back and forth. It depends on a couple things, like where I am today versus, let's say, 5 years ago. Obviously, getting older, maybe more confident, more secure in my career. So I would probably say Jerry. I feel like Jerry, of all of them, is kind of like that, even though he is probably the most narcissistic, not a very likable person, but he is very successful. He has a very clear career path. He's, and they go to his apartment. Everything centers around Jerry. So if Jerry's not there, Elaine and George feel very untethered and very insecure about their place in the world. So I'm going to say Jerry.
Wow, that's good. I like that connection of why Jerry. Makes me be rethink mine a little bit.
I think that's a good point. You could go two ways with that, right? But I can love that kind of connects to what your passion and mission is to be that partner where people who can rely on you because you are more established and just confident and have that that knowledge of how to support and truly support, right? He's also an entrepreneur, which is exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just want to preface that the reason we brought Seinfeld up is because last night I saw a Seinfeld episode and George had just got laid off or quit or something, and he was sitting on the floor of Jerry's apartment talking to Jerry, saying, "Well, I like sports. What could I do in sports? Well, I like horses. What could I do with horses?" And trying to figure out what his next step to his career path. And I'm like, how freaking fitting is that for the conversation today?
That's perfect.
Jerry, it started to really kind of talk to George very straight, no BS.
Right.
Think through this, George. Really? Let's like I would do as a career coach. I'm they'll throw out something and I'll be like, all right, well, let's really think about this. If you were going to go down this path, does it really make sense? Really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Who's yours, Trinity?
Mine is Kramer, because George is way too much anger and negativity for me. Elaine is too much drama. Makes me tired just watching her. I love Jerry, and I guess I've never really looked at him from that perspective. So you do have me torn. But the reason I pick Kramer is because he makes me laugh so freaking much and is just that. So we need variety in our life we need certainty, but we also need variety. And I think that Kramer brings a lot of variety every day in many different ways. And I think that would just really blossom my life to even more joy. Although I could go without the he does some stuff that I'm oh, do I really want him in time? I think about that. Yeah, I
totally.
Or two, who you two pick. I know that Danielle. I know, but
yeah. Who's yours, Danielle?
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it a lot, I'll be honest. And for the Gen X listening, it's a group of friends. Kramer's the wild guy. So what I like about Kramer is he's unpredictable. And we live in a world where we can get caught up doing what we think we're supposed to do instead of what we want to do. And a lot of people do that from day to day in the smallest moments. So I like people that just shake shit up, make it different, make it different than the plan that I was going to map out that day. Put a little glitch in the system. You need those people in your life. She's that person. And I also think he authentically loves. I think his approach to his heart's pure, in my opinion. So it's interesting that you wouldn't trust him. Well, he might make your house messy, but he'll be safe ish if he didn't invite a bunch of people over. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
He would be a horrible teenage boy, but like, I feel like, I don't know, like he like loved, like,
I dig that.
Oh, I relate to him as a human. Like I'm that kind of person.
I totally dig that.
I could take shit out.
I'm gonna have to say mine's Kramer too, but the reason is because he definitely lives in his true self. He's just like, I don't care what other people think. He's just like, this is me. You know what I mean? And he's just like, this is who I am, whatever. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm very similar to that, so I can relate with Kramer. But Jessica, your thoughts on Jerry totally like came in. I'm like, man, Jerry, maybe Jerry would be the guy too. You know what I mean? So I can totally relate with that. But this is
great though, because like we always need that friend that will tell someone off for us.
That is true. That is true.
Go get a feisty little friend. Like, go get that person for me.
I love it. Love it.
Like, it's
just
shows because there is always a dynamic in personalities. And the more I see interpersonal things like within myself or within the dynamics of a group setting, because I'm a teacher, right? So I kind of can like see people as characters in a show, and it makes the dynamic work. And it's fascinating to me how literal the shows are to real life and how there is sort of a formula.
Oh yeah.
You know, even in a larger spectrum as culture and race and age, right? I just thrive on variety. Love, and I feel like it's a natural thing that we all kind of like group and do. Like, I really feel it to be quite natural, and that we're always like one of these. And then TV producers know that, right? When they're they need to relate to everybody or a particular audience, and so it's quite literal to the interpersonal like behaviors of people.
Most definitely. This has been an absolutely wonderful conversation, Jessica. We're super appreciative for you to join us today. My name is Graham. For all our listeners, make sure that you go follow the Unfiltered Path Podcast, subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts. My business is Valued Productions. You can find me online at valudproductions.com, social media at Valued Productions, and I'm joined by our awesome co-host here tonight.
I am Trinity Baker. Hey, everyone. Mindset coach. I help people achieve their true happiness, identify and step into that true self that they're here to be. And so you can find me at TheTrinityBaker.com, as well as all your social media platforms, The Trinity Baker. And I am joined here with my co-host.
Hi, my name is Danielle. I'm an Aerialist. I own Aerialist. That gives me the ability to perform and teach all over. You can find me on aerialj.com. We can live chat. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, you know the list. Follow the Unfiltered Path Podcast, please. We really, really want to interact with our listeners. We actually have received quite a few questions, and the people that are committed to listening to our podcast are, and they look forward to it. So we are progressing. So please follow us again, the Unfiltered Path Podcast on all your social media platforms. And we're here with our beautiful guest.
Thank you so much, Danielle and Graham and Trinity. It was really a lot of fun to be on your podcast. I've done other podcasts, wonderful podcasts, but a lot more structure, which I actually thought, I'm a very structured person. So I thought, okay, can I kind of like lean in? And I'm like, oh no, this was cool. I enjoyed this format. So Jessica Visek, your career partner. And check me out both on LinkedIn, as well as you can go to my website, yourcareerpartner.net. So I want to emphasize the net. And, just let me, drop me a line. Love to hear from you.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, you go find Jessica online on LinkedIn and make sure you follow the Unfiltered Path Podcast. Until next week, you all have a wonderful day.